Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 34. The biggest project for today will be the construction of the bridges going over the river, which will take quite a bit of time, and we won't really be ready with everything, even at the end of the episode. The thing is, it's a wider river, and we really don't have the necessary workforce nearby, so we can't really expect fast progress on things. But it's better to do slow progress today, than wait a long time for the population numbers to reach a big enough number for faster work. Thankfully, we can keep ourselves busy with other things, like a bit of landscaping. We can plant some trees and bushes around the place, things like that. As for the steel mill, I really want to wait until we have the construction outpost in reach of the different building sites, so we can do the necessary terraforming, otherwise the planning is not really possible. Before we get started, if this is not your first video from this channel, you already know what to expect. If you want to be kept up to date, please consider subscribing, and if you like what you see, leaving a like will also help letting me know what to focus on. But enough talking, let's get into it. Let's start by fixing that little oversight on my part. I forgot to set the incinerator deliveries to only use mixed garbage, and some of the sorted metal scrap made it into the ash dumps. We can just tell one of the trucks to temporarily pick that up, and take it back to the separator for reprocessing. After a couple rounds, things should be clear enough to set the truck back to normal. During my tests for this upcoming episode, I did notice that the prison is extremely overcrowded at this point. It was bound to happen sooner or later. Anyways, time to build a bigger prison. If all goes well, this thing should carry our justice system for decades to come. I didn't want to overburden the new town too much, so I chose to build it here, on the outskirts of Dolny. If we use mirroring on the prison, we can have the footpath connection closer to the residential areas, so staffing should be a lot easier. Next up, the road crossing. We already have the railroad bridge all planned out, but we will definitely need to include a road one as well. For now, I use the same terrain elevation as the railroad bridge. If it turns out to be too low, we will just need to build a new one. With all the construction apparatus right next door, it will be an easy fix, should it be necessary. Since this construction hub is pretty much the terminus for the main highway, we need to build a road going around it. For these crossings, I decided to use the curved bridges. There's no need to be too fancy with these. We could have just terraformed to build a ramp up, but I did want to preserve some of these deltas, so we will use a bridge to go up to the crossing start point. Now we just bring the roads back down to the regular elevation, and wait for the bridge to be built. Also, the population boosting is now in effect. We will need to check on the research status from time to time, just to make sure it doesn't expire on us. I think this is as far as we will take it for now. The only real way to make proper progress beyond this point is to have the terraforming vehicles on that side of the river, so we need to wait for things to be completed. And since we have roads next to our distribution center, how about we hook it up to the main road? It can't hurt, I suppose, and it will give a second way into the city. I really wanted to get into planning the steel mill, but the terrain is just too uneven for such a big building, and the different mineral deposits are in the same situation, so we cannot progress until the machinery is nearby. Since it was a waiting game at this point, I decided to pass the time with a bit of landscaping. We can bring the different shorelines a bit closer to the roads and rail tracks, and then use the smoothing tool to make it look a bit more natural. We might as well work a bit in the town too, and get rid of some of the more unseemly cliffs still present. With that done, we can work on getting rid of the bald spots on these hills we have still milling around. Thankfully, the map creator helped us out by only using 2 types of foliage, so replanting the area will be a lot easier. We just need to use bushes in the majority of the place, and then use beech trees to create small patches of them for a natural look. We can also place some trees along the riverfront to prevent landslides. And the new prison is done. I put the game on pause to sort out the supplies for it. We should try to make sure it has everything as soon as possible, so prisoners don't start dying on us due to malnutrition. Then we just tell the warden to keep instilling our national values in the prisoners, and we can move on. Oh, right, almost forgot. Remember how we used to bring in foreign workers to staff our fire station at the farm? When I demolished that place, the buses vanished, and I simply couldn't figure out where they went. Well, they are right here. Still waiting to leave the customs house. I was wondering why this place could only accept 3 fertilizer trucks at a time, and now we know why. The prison is good, it seems. I think we can move on. The next thing I wanted to sort out was the number of buses going to Satsumograd. The Dolny bus station has way too many people, so we can safely increase the bus service, and thus giving the different factories a better workforce. While there will be very few people in the new town train station, I still decided to start up the commuter service going to the construction hub. All these road constructions would go a bit faster if we had asphalt made at the local factory, and not having to bring it in from Satsumograd. Only, it seems I set it up incorrectly. Oh well. As I've said, there are very few people in that train station, so this error on my part will not really have an impact. I just wish I paid more attention to these things while recording. My mind is always all over the place. Anyways, the next things to take care of was the local gas stations. Building one in the center of town, and one in the construction hub should be plenty enough for now. Good thing I checked on the medical university. The pop booster tech already expired. I wish I knew what triggers the expiry of that research, it seems completely random. It doesn't seem to be a set date, or a certain amount of time since the research finished, or anything like that. The universities seem to be struggling to keep up the staffing numbers. Maybe that 70% is a tiny bit too high after all. Maybe we should stick to 65% for the time being. I think we have enough money to safely repay that last loan we took out. Let's hope it was the last one. I wanted to see if maybe we can add a service road to get started on the bridge right away, but bridges can't have an intersection right at their start nodes, so that was a bust. The town residents seem to be living a decent life in the new town. Only complaints are the usual too, so all their other needs are taken care of. I suppose we could spend some time filling up this empty block. Watching the road slowly get built will not be a riveting viewing experience for long. These seem to be a decent choice. They are still not tall enough to stand out in this town without any high-rise towers, and their housing quality is quite nice. That will do just fine, I think. 4 more houses, and a bit of green space left to fill in later. That about does it for the footpaths. We will need to check the walkability later, but it should be okay for the most part. We had a health notification, but it was just the usual issue we have when only a couple people live in a housing block, so even a single illness brings down the average to dangerous levels. It will even out once more people start living there. I suppose at this point, there is no reason to keep delaying the railroad bridge construction. Even if we end up using the office in Dolny, it will get it done. And since there is no crossing at the end of the line, both track layers will be able to work on it at the same time. I noticed some maintenance icons around the farms in the background while editing. I really wish that option in the service garage worked, the one that allow the trucks to keep waiting in buildings even if the target vehicles are out on a job. They give up way too easily. I would rather get a notification than the current situation. Anyways, I finally remembered to name the track layers. We already had celestial names and Ukrainian symbols in the older series. This time it was suggested to use gemstones, so now we have ruby and topaz building our railroads. That's quite a few prefab panels we have coming in. This little bridge turned out to be a pricey one. Now that the trees and bushes are a bit more grown up, we can add a couple more in places that were left empty in the last round. How about we make this little island a bit narrower? I don't know why, I just felt like doing it. Finally, that curved bridge is done. After the small road segment right after it is also finished, we can at long last get started on the actual river crossing. It seems the outermost houses under construction are not in range for the kindergarten. That's a bit unfortunate. It means we will need to build another one nearby. But since we had a lot of small footpath segments to take care of around those new houses, I didn't want to disturb the workflow by adding more work for the COs just yet. We can build that kindergarten a bit later. Okay, before we say goodbye, we might as well place that kindergarten. That empty plot of land will be perfect for it. Both of the main bridges are under construction at this point, and once the road one is finished, we can at long last get started on that steel mill planning. It will be the usual setup, only we will use cable cars to deliver the coal and iron from the nearby mining locations. I have not decided yet where we will do the processing, but I think we will build those next to the steel mill. I think the area around the mines is very hilly, so it makes sense to build the bigger facilities in the flatter areas. And let's not forget about the extra stuff we should place next to the mill. I still want to build the component factories next to it, so we can manufacture those goods immediately after the steel mill comes online. Taking care of the three most expensive building materials all at once would pretty much take care of our finances for the rest of the series. After that is all done, we will just work our way down the different imports, and start eliminating them from the list one by one, and slowly work our way toward complete self-reliance. Anyways, if you haven't done it already, I'd love it if you subscribe to the channel, and leaving a like would also let me know that this video was worth making. If you feel that it was good enough, and you can afford it, please consider going to my Ko-fi page, which you can find in the description, and donate an amount that you feel is appropriate. And if you did like what you've seen, there should be links to some of my other videos and playlists on the screen. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you in the next one.